Hi, this is Jeremy Kellett, Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. This is episode 45. Today, I'm joined by Kent Childers and Corey Huey from the recruiting department. Also, we have Scott Cowden from operations hanging in with us. And we're going to talk a little bit about recruiting cards and recruiting bonuses, give you some details on how it works and why it's so important. And I know, recruiting is a big topic with us. It may not everybody want to hear about it, but I tell you, we've got some good stuff we're going to cover on why we even advertise, why we're looking for trucks, the operation standpoint of it, of why we need more trucks. So some good information coming up. I want you guys to stay tuned and listen to us. But first, let's check in with Vickie Chastain on this week's Need to Know segment.
Oakley Trucking has many options and multiple divisions to fit your needs. Whether you are pulling an end-dump, hopper bottom, pneumatic tank, running regional, or over the road, swapping divisions, that's this week's Need to Know segment. Every division is different when it comes to pay, running area, or home time. One good thing about changing divisions is you get to change jobs but never leave the company. If you are considering swapping divisions and have questions, give us a call and we can help you gather the information needed to make the best decision for you and your family. I'm Vickie Chastain, and that's this week's Need to Know segment.
And also, this episode is sponsored by Lube Zone. They provide PM services to over-the-road trucks in as little as 30 minutes. Be sure and check out lubezone.com. Okay, let's get started, guys, and talking about recruiting cards, recruiting bonuses, why Oakley stresses and preaches to everybody that we need more truck drivers. Let's start out with that. And to do that, I think I want to first answer a couple of questions that, and y'all chime in here anytime you get ready, but on somebody on the outside looking in on a good company like Oakley Trucking, why in the world do you even have to advertise? Because the old school thinking was, hey, if you're such a good company, why you got to advertise? Well, let me give you my 2 cents on that before y'all dive in there, which may take a half hour. No, this is a different industry than anything else. When you're dealing with truck drivers in the industry that we're in, and why we have to fight for the good truck drivers and try to get them is, one, it's a shortage of truck drivers, right?
Absolutely.
We all know there's a shortage of truck drivers. 70,000 drivers short is what they say right now, and probably they're saying going to be even more than that down the road. Well, we're trying to, as a company, we're trying to find a certain guy, certain gal, certain person to fit our niche, which makes it very difficult to do. So it requires a lot more leads coming in. We have to go through a lot of leads to try to find the right candidate that fits our program. So when you have that scenario where the shortage of the people you need and you have tight requirements, you have to expand your recruiting. You have to have a whole bunch of leads coming in the top of this funnel to spit out one. We all know that. I think that's just something a lot of people on the outside don't know and don't understand on what we have to do it. And on the other side of that, I can see people on the outside going, well, if they didn't quit, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Boy, what? Isn't that the truth? Yep. You lose truck drivers. Well, we do, and it's very frustrating to all of us when the reality of it is truck drivers are a wanted item, and they have somebody pulling or tugging at them all the time. They can get a job anywhere. They can go anywhere and get a job. Now, the hard part's finding that right company, but, that's got to feel good to be wanted at some place all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's part of it. But when it's narrowed down to what we have to do and find that right guy and try to keep him, we don't want to lose him. We really don't. But when you got 850 owner-operators, it's inevitable we're going to lose some trucks every week, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Can't get by. You got, and the biggest reasons, and I've told this to a lot of people, the biggest reasons we lose guys here is the number one is truck problems.
Yep.
Equipment problems, truck problems, can't fix it, tired of working on it. I mean, we all know that that's been an issue for a long time, especially even more so. It used to not be number one, but until that DEF came out and all that stuff, and that's made it very frustrating for guys. So you got that problem, and then the number two reason is health. We have some major health issues. You know, guys have major health issues, and every week, I mean, we have a group of people off all the time that's got health problems, and that makes it a challenge. And and then you just got other guys gonna quit to go to greener grass and what they think. So I will say, I understand what you're saying. Well, guys quit, but we got a 32% turnover rate.
Right.
Now that says a lot about a company like us. Yes, it's more than we want. We can't think that's just really, really good, but in the industry that we're in, it is really good because all our competitors have 80 to 90% turnover rate. How'd you like to recruit for them?
No.
So,
Be all day.
So that's my beginning spiel there. Y'all add to it. That's my first thoughts that I wanted to get out there. So, what do y'all think? What are y'all seeing on your end by answering the phone and talking to drivers?
Well, you kind of touched on that. They're getting calls every day from somebody doing the same thing we are, looking for good guys and getting the world promised to them, like grass is greener mentality. That, they're getting from a lot of companies that's promising the world.
Well, and I think so. A lot of guys get that, and they follow each other over. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But with the pool shrinking as it is, and we're trying to grow like we are, it's going to require us to do a lot more advertising. You want to give us a lowdown on the advertising part of it, Corey, so we can everybody, our listeners, can understand what we're doing to find a lead?
Well, I mean, man, about everything that's out there, honestly, you kind of, other talking about how a driver is a wanted item. Well, every trucking company is advertising. So if you're not advertising, well, you're falling behind. And that goes with, internet and radio or podcast or anything like that, just to get your company brand and your name out there. So, one good thing that works for us is the driver referral. I mean, it always has been the number one way that we lease a guy on. And there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, I think probably number one is drivers trust other drivers and what they have to say. And like you said, they all know somebody at another company, so they're buddies, and, somebody's a guinea pig, goes over to a company and it's working good, and then they, talk them into
same way
over.
here.
Right, yeah.
Same
exactly.
thing they're doing here.
Exactly.
Because they, I don't blame them. I mean, recruiters got a bad rap. I mean, I ain't gonna believe much what Kent says, right? But I'll believe a driver working here.
Sure.
To give me a little more detail of what's going on, and I understand that too. But I think the part with I want our guys to understand about paying all these advertising companies is very frustrating.
Absolutely.
Because we're having to pay SiriusXM, all these online ad to get our name out there, our brand out there, which we got to have some of that.
Right.
But, we sit in here and think everybody's heard of Oakley Trucking. And we get calls every day. Nobody's ever heard of Oakley Trucking. So we got to keep that out there and keep advertising. But, with our referral program that we're fixing to explain, that, to me, I want our guys to know that's the money we'd just soon pay you as we had these advertising
Sure.
companies. If there's any way we can do that, it's too bad we can't just solely pay our guys and not pay any other advertising. It'd be super nice, but we can't do that. I mean, we got to keep our name out
and
there.
it's a better quality lead too, typically. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, good guys attract other good guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why we hound for them, to hound on them to get us some more of them. What about from an operation standpoint, Cowden? Why? So you're over there. You, the dispatchers, are constantly going, hey, recruiting, because y'all sit right next to us, pretty close to us. We need some trucks. We need some trucks. You know, those guys in dispatch are hollering at Kent and Corey and at Dustin, and, hey, we need some trucks. Now, we got 850. Is that not enough?
Well, you know, with the market and freight is constantly changing. I mean, it's never the same. I mean, there'll be times when you feel like you got too many trucks, Jeremy, but as it is right now and how it's been the last 2 or 3 months, we don't have enough trucks, and we need more, you know, so there's never a real balance, you know, as far as having the perfect amount of trucks.
You know, we constantly strive to get some every week, which you got to just to stay up. You know, you lose 3 or 4 weeks, you got to be able to replenish that, and then you got dispatch hollering at you, we need some more trucks to cover the freight. I mean, that's basically what you're wanting to do. You got more business, you got more freight that needs to be covered, and we can't get rid of the freight, right?
Right.
What situation are you in now? Are you turning down freight?
Oh yeah, we've got an overabundance of freight right now. Not able to book everything that comes across those phones, and that's very frustrating.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's like we in the middle of this table, we throw it just piled full of cash, okay, but you only get to take one swipe, and that's all you get. Now, if you had a couple more sets of arms and you could take some more swipes, you could make some more money. But no, you only get one swipe because that's a limited amount of trucks that we have, and that's good to know because, you know, the freight is what drives everything. I mean, and having the good owner-operators, the right owner-operators, helps the freight. I told those guys this morning, I was talking to the new guys, 3 new guys we had, and I was telling them, I said, you don't know how much freight you produce for yourself by doing your job, doing what you do. Clean cut, your truck's good, you got a good attitude, you provide good customer service. And they provide a lot of freight for themselves. They never even know just by doing the job, you know, every day. So,
right.
Good stuff. Let's take a minute here before we get into details on this. I want you guys to explain the recruiting card and the recruiting bonus and exactly how that works. But first, let's talk about Lube Zone. You ever heard of Lube Zone?
Little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Lately.
You know, there's not a wrong answer there, but you know, they're our sponsor now, and very good people, and they do a lot of. They basically do PMs for big trucks, and they have 11 locations throughout Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and California. You can go to lubezone.com and find out which ones are close to you. They are a fast-growing network of preventive maintenance centers focused on oil changes and other rapid services for heavy and medium-duty trucks. I know Jeff Porter. You've met him, Corey. He's come up here a few times, and been friends with him for a long time, and we just got to know Megan that's with Lube Zone, and just good people, you know, and it seems like a great company that's honest and expanding a little bit, and they want to get the word out there on who they are. And I'd like for our owner-operators to check them out, because we got a lot of guys down in their area where all their locations are. I know they got 3 down there around Houston area, Baytown area, so we know we're there all the time. And also they do this rewards program that's pretty neat. They offer cash rewards on their purchases, kind of like we do.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Kind of like our recruiting.
Yeah, right. So they, you refer a friend to Lube Zone, you get $100. So there's details at that at lubezonerewards.com. You can check them out there. Go to or lubezone.com, and also on the social media. Now, right now, and I don't know how many of them we got, so exactly when this podcast comes out, if
we've got 3. We've got one currently going right now, which is, what's today, the 28th. So
I don't know if I have any left when this comes out.
We should be working on the last one whenever this one comes out. So
now, what is that? It's
a free PM.
Okay.
At any of their locations.
And it's a drawing. And how do you find out about it? Go to
Just if you go to our Facebook page or our Instagram page and just follow the rules, sign up for it, and then we pick a winner. We'll pick a winner tomorrow, the 29th, for.
And then we got more down the road.
We've got more stuff down the road that we've got from Lube Zone. So.
All right, well, good.
You ever been on our Instagram page?
Yeah, I have been on the Instagram page.
No kidding.
Facebook, yeah. Twitter, on the Twitter.
That's great.
I'm usually the second like on the Twitter every time.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you on that social media.
Yeah, I'm a
Guru.
social media guru. Yeah.
All right, Lube Zone. Y'all check it out. Okay. How does this thing work? So we're talking, for all our listeners out there, we're talking about recruiting cards and recruiting bonuses and getting leads so we can lease on some good people at Oakley Trucking. So I'll let Corey and Kent take over from here. You guys explain the process.
Corey, you want to take off with that, or me jump in?
Yeah,
okay.
I can. So, I mean, the process, guys, is really simple. I mean, we make it more complicated, I think, here in the office, trying to keep track of this stuff. But on your end, the process is simple. It's just a matter of getting us a name and a phone number. More information, if you've got it, is helpful, but mainly just a name and a phone number. And getting that turned into myself or Kent or Jeremy or Dustin, any of us in the recruiting department, so that we can contact the recruit. And there's 10 different ways
there's
that
a lot
a
of
guy
ways.
can do that, whether it's calling us on the phone and saying, hey, I talked to Scott Cowden, here's his phone number. We'll write it down and put him in the system, or filling out a recruiting card. You can, write it on your hand. I don't care.
Take a
picture of it, send it to us, email it to us, the driver portal, the TransFlow app, any way that you can think of to get this information to us. And then what we do is we treat that just like we do any other lead through paid advertising that we're doing, and we'll contact that individual and the same way we did whenever we were contacting you whenever you were trying to get leased on. And the main things there, what we're looking for is, one, that they're a qualified lead, and then two, that they're not currently somebody that we're already recruiting.
Right. And we could tell you that if you call us right at that time.
Yeah, right. And then, so if it is a qualified lead and it's not somebody that we're all already actively recruiting, we pay you $150, and that's something that we just
Upped. Mm-hmm.
We just upped from $100 this week, actually. That will be paid on your settlement, on that next settlement, and then if we're fortunate enough to get the guy leased on, well then that just opens up more opportunities for recruiting bonuses, which we'll kind of get into, I guess, a little bit later on. But
the $150, I need you to cover that one more time, because I got a buddy I'm talking to that's thinking about coming over here, but I'm acting like one of our drivers here, but he's not ready. So when he gets ready, I hear this a lot. When he gets ready, I'll have him contact you guys. What would y'all say to that?
Well, I'll start on this. Now, we've got to make sure he's a legitimate recruit here. So you can give us his name and number, and we can contact him or give him get it all started. You're holding off. Somebody else could talk to him and turn him in.
That's what I was going for.
And I hear some guys saying, hey, I've turned in names and numbers, and I haven't received anything. And it's all about that. Let's try to contact them. You got to stay on them also. Hey, let them know you're fixing to get a phone call from these guys. If we can't contact them,
So I give you a name and number. Then I may get you don't know when the $150, you don't know when I'm going to get paid the $150. It's going to be when you get in contact with the guy and you verify that he is a truck driver and he's interested.
Right.
Not necessarily right now, but he's a good lead. And
That's
then
great.
then you send the 150. And sometimes what you're saying, that takes a little bit of time to get a hold of these
Sure,
guys.
yeah. I mean, how many times have you got a phone call from a random number that you don't know who it is?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't answer
I
those,
don't know.
you know. So, but we try to contact them ASAP as soon as we get those, and at least leave them a message or shoot
'em a
them a
text,
text or
yeah.
something. You know, hey, this is Corey from Oakley. You know, I got your name from whoever. You know, to
And I
call
think
us back.
I think the important part for our drivers to know and understand is if they've got those contacts and they're sitting on them, they need to give them to us so we can get them in the system. You know, in our recruiting program, we're not going to hound the guy. I know you know we're not going to hound him. Too bad.
That's their big fear.
That's probably their big fear, but we're not going to. I mean, we just need you get credit for that guy when you turn him into us. We call him, we verify, yeah, he's interested, maybe next year or whatever. We got him in our system with your name beside him, and it doesn't matter if it's a year from now or 2 years from now.
Right.
That's how we got that lead.
Stay
You are
with him.
responsible for that guy, so it stays in our system so we know.
Right.
Instead of waiting, like Kent said, and then all of a sudden they talk to somebody else, and then you know,
Jeremy, they get that 150 as soon as recruiting verifies the driver.
right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
150
within
bucks.
a week, $150.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's $150, you know, right then. And so I just want them to understand, you know, how that process works. Don't always wait to turn a guy in. We're not gonna. We know we may not go to work right now. We
Right,
just need that
right.
lead, and then we need to talk to him every so often, whether it's once a month or just touch base with him. I mean, how many times you have to talk to a guy before he leases on?
Oh my goodness, a whole bunch of times. Sometimes I have to remind them who I am.
Yeah, you've talked to so long, and that's the way with a lot of our listeners. A lot of them took a long time to come
Sure.
over here, and that's okay too.
Yeah, like, you know, I got this buddy. Well, he doesn't have a truck yet. Well, that's all right. I mean, I can help him.
Yep.
I can help him with that too. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
You know, if he needs the help. So
Now, does he have to have a truck, Corey?
to be qualified,
Yeah,
no,
he doesn't
not.
have to have a truck. Okay.
No, because most of the guys we get don't have a truck. I mean, they're in the process of wanting to buy one, and we help
Right.
them. We help them from the beginning until they
right.
get one. Okay, y'all want to explain? Does that cover a recruiting card pretty good? You think? Pretty simple.
I feel like it does. I mean,
Yeah, and something I like to add in that is, man, you know, we hear a lot. Well, I don't know this guy. I'm not going to refer a guy that I don't know a lot about.
right. Oh yeah.
But if you're talking to a guy, see a guy, you think he'd be a decent fit, one way or the other. You know, let us decide that.
Yeah, the recruiting department's going to do all the vetting.
Yep. Let
Y'all
us-
are going
Right.
to look at the work
Absolutely.
history and decide whether or not, you know, he's going to be a good fit
Yep.
for Oakley. So, yeah,
Right.
definitely don't worry about that.
Yeah, turn that card in.
Don't get in too many details. I mean, you know, there's some that, yeah, I know they don't want them to be part of Oakley, and I understand that.
Sure.
But we still need the leads to go through them because a lot of people change their mind. A lot of people clean up.
Yeah, I was
A
going to
lot
say
of
that.
people, yeah, you know, we've had that happen. So yeah, definitely, like Scott said, man, get the lead to us. Recruiting department will take care of the rest. It
Right.
does help now. It does help if that owner operator
Follows up. with
follows
it.
up.
Awesome.
We see that a lot to where if that owner operator that actually recruited this guy, if he'll stay in touch with him, it makes it so the closing that deal to that guy coming leasing on is so much better if that happens. So I encourage you, if you turn in a recruiting card, you stay with it every so often. Just touch base with him while we're doing it too. But I promise you, we're not hounding them. I mean, we're not upsetting them or anything like that. Anybody don't want us to call them, we don't call them. It's pretty simple. And the main part of it here is. This is another aspect. I know I told y'all I was going to turn it over to y'all, but I can't help it. But we're doing a lot more advertising. We're cranked up Sirius XM. We're going to try to get our name out there. So the purpose of part of our advertising is to have people that have never heard of Oakley and they hear a commercial or they see our podcast and then they see you in a truck stop or they see you going down the road and they ask, hey, I've been hearing these commercials or I saw y'all's podcast or what's going on at Oakley Trucking? And that's that's what we're trying to drive to our owner-operators, and then
Right.
we're just asking you guys to take that time and try to get that guy's number, his phone number, his name, so we can got it. We got another lead, yeah.
Right.
And you let us know if it's a good lead. I mean, we appreciate you guys weeding some of them out for us too. But that's the way we're thinking up here.
Right.
What else, guys?
Well, I mean, I think that pretty much covers us on the recruiting card side.
Yep.
And then, the next step from that would be the recruiting bonus side. So,
That's where it gets real good.
right. Again, following up, like you were just saying, Jeremy, following up with that guy during the recruiting process is a big help for us. And every guy is different as far as his time frame on when he's ready to come. Whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. But we're gonna do our best to get that guy qualified, and not everybody is qualified. That kind of goes back to what you were talking about in the beginning, that funnel. I mean, we need a lot of these leads coming in, so don't get frustrated if you've turned in several of these recruiting cards and it's not producing anything. It'll happen. I mean,
It takes a lot.
It does.
How many calls you answer a day, Kent? And there's endless. I mean, it's
yeah.
disqualified. It's no good.
A bunch.
A bunch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Corey, do we generally contact our owner-operators when we get a hold of the lead and let them know, hey, we got a hold of the so-and-so that you turned in?
Sometimes, now I will say that's something probably we could do better on our end to communicate. Hey, Scott, I appreciate you turning that card into me last week. I got a hold of this guy. He sounds like a great guy. I sent him an application. He's supposed to be filling it out and stuff like that.
Right.
We don't do. Sometimes, I hear Ken or Dustin saying, "Hey, I've got your guy coming for orientation next week." So, but yeah, that's definitely something that we could do.
Yep. We could do a lot better on that.
Do a lot better.
I especially call that owner operator if I can feel the guy if he knows he's not answering the phone. Last couple of times I've talked to him, or if I hear him fading, you can tell if a guy is fading a little bit on you, and like you talked about earlier on talking to a recruiter. Now, if he's hearing from me and hearing from the guy that recruited him, and they're all on the same page, we got a lot better chance of getting a really good guy at least going over here.
Yeah, and the majority of them know each other. I mean, don't y'all think we get more recruiting cards of people they know
absolutely.
than just random ones?
Random.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's something we can tell too when we're talking to him on the phone, because I'm like, what kind of trucks he got, and these guys will give us details. Well, he's got a new truck now, or he's in the process of buying a new one, and I worked with him for 20 years over here at this last job. He's a good guy, and so we'll try to vet him a little bit right there. So
explain the recruiting bonus.
Well, that's a pretty awesome deal. That is, get one of your recruits leased on over here through orientation, 45 days. He's been running with us for 45 days. They are writing you a check for $2,500.
Nice.
It is real nice. Now, he stays another 45 days. They're cutting you another check for $2,500.
So $5,000 for each recruit.
Actually, that's $5,150 if you want to.
If you want to add in the card, yeah.
So that's a pretty good little twist on
That's
things.
a chunk of change. I hope that people realize we're willing to pay that for good people.
absolutely.
That ought to tell you how bad, you need truck drivers in this country is people paying for them. I don't have anybody knocking on my door to pay for me to go looking for me, that's for sure.
Well, Jeremy, you hit the nail on the head in the beginning of the conversation. Most of our recruits come from our drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we want to pay them rather than putting all of our money out there in the advertising. We want to give it to our drivers, the people that are out there recruiting for us. So, and that's a lot of money, $5,000 a pop.
We paid $615,000 in 2020 to our guys that recruited owner operators.
That's awesome.
That includes recruiting bonuses and recruiting cards. That's a lot of money for a company to pay out for referrals.
That's right.
But that means we're serious about it. That's how we want to get it done, is through our owner-operators when you're talking that kind of money.
Well, and something to hit on too now while we're talking about, this being a lot of money. Because it's a lot of money, I mean, there's rules and details that we require here that a guy has to follow in order to get credit for that recruiting.
There you go with the rules.
Well, I mean,
it sounded so good and easy, and now you got to go with the rules.
The fine print, I guess, if you want to say it like that. But there's really not. It's not that bad, guys. But just kind of going back to that recruiting card thing is, turning it in. Don't tell your buddy, to call up there and tell him that you referred him. I mean, we want to hear from you. That way we know when we're putting him in the system that 100% certainty that you are the guy that recruited this guy. Because 6 months down the road, whenever we get him in orientation, I don't want to think I'm paying you and then somebody else calls in that was, for whatever reason, and now it's a question, because I don't want to take money away from somebody that shouldn't be getting it or that should be getting it.
Well, Corey, and there's a good chance that driver might have talked to more than one person.
Absolutely. Well, and
if I talked to him first and I didn't turn in the card, and then you talked to him 6 months later, then the recruiting bonus is going to you.
That's right.
Regardless of what the recruit says.
That's right. And we ran into this the other day. Well, this new hire, new leasee, he wrote my name on the application.
Yeah, don't matter. It has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
So you got rules, but you got a lot of money at stake, and this is the only way we know how to do it. I mean,
right.
I want everybody to understand we want to pay who actually recruited this guy. But
if you're helping us out, I mean, we want to do rules right and pay you,
But we got to do it right.
Sure.
That's one reason we're having this podcast, is to explain a little bit about it. And we do email stuff out to everybody once in a while explaining how you do it. It's got to be a guy that we haven't heard of. We got to get his name. You got to send in the card. Don't tell him. Don't pass out your truck number. We're going to verify that you recruited him. And that's what we want to pay for. We are not trying to get out of paying a recruiting bonus. But we got the rules. We just can't cut $5,000 checks willy-nilly. Right. We got to have the rules, and people got to abide by them.
And I promise you, for $150, I can call you.
I can get the rule right.
Right.
No problem. I can get it right. So, well, I can tell you this: we've made a lot of people happy, whole lot more than we've made mad over this recruiting bonus. We have made a lot of people happy with doing this and paying them that way. So, what's some other stuff?
And one other thing, not to talk about this fine print and being negative over here, but one of the things, guys, that I think a lot of people don't realize or don't want to realize is this recruiting bonus is going to be paid towards any outstanding balance that you would have first.
Yep.
So, I've taken some pretty uncomfortable phone calls with guys that didn't understand that, and they feel like we're taking their money. But if you're currently paying on your wet kit, pulling end up here, or a blower, or your escrow, or something like that, to where you have a balance with Oakley, well, then that bonus is going to go towards the balance of that first.
And it's still their money.
It's still your money, right? It's just not coming out. Your escrow comes out at $175 a week. Well, but
I was already planning on that $2,500. I had a new unit bought from my bass boat, and I needed it. I done had it spent.
Well,
that's uncomfortable. Yeah,
that's where it gets uncomfortable, because and what we hear a lot too is guys are like, well, I promised this recruit that I was gonna split this with him, or something like that. So if you've got a question, call up here and talk to us. I don't mind looking up your escrow and see if you have any balance. I mean, I'll tell you, if you
Yeah.
do, but
Good point. They just need to know any outstanding balance,
Right.
which basically is your escrow or your wet kit or blower
Right.
equipment. Any of that's in the negative, bam, that goes towards that. The rest goes to you. And then if the guy quits within 90 days, you get zero. Well, you already got your 2,500. You don't get your second.
right.
Yeah. So
Do we take back the other 2,500?
no, no.
And that's where, staying in contact with this
Yeah.
guy if you recruit him, I mean, help him out.
That helps a lot too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. What else, guys? Anything else you can add to that? That's a pretty good conversation. I sure hope it helps our owner operators.
I do
understand.
too. Yeah, I hope so.
Get a little bit of the confusion out of the way.
Yeah, just make sure to call us. I know everybody's got some names in their phone right now that they're sitting on that we could go to town on.
Cowden, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me.
Debut.
Debut.
Yeah.
It's first time on here.
All right.
And it took a long time to get him on
Sure
here.
did.
So what number was
What
this?
we, episode 45?
Yeah, he's finally coming
Episode
on.
45.
We've been needing his intelligence for a long time.
See y'all back at 90.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to the Oakley Podcast, Trucking, Business, and Family. We appreciate you guys listening and all that y'all do. Give us some feedback. If you got stuff you want to hear, you want us to talk about, let me know. Shoot me an email, call me, whatever, and we'll try to get you some good information that'll help you be a better and successful owner operator. Also, check out our last episode. It was a good one. We've got some other ones coming up. The last one we did was that the me and Dustin, company driver to owner operator. That was a real good one. And the next ones down the road, I think we got the tax guy, ATBS coming back. We got my buddy Mark Steck. We're going to talk about truck engines, transmissions, what to look for in that. So those are coming down the road. So got some good stuff coming. Appreciate everybody listening. Share it with everybody. Watch us on YouTube. We're on YouTube now. Check us all out. And it was good visiting with everybody. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to everybody next week. Thanks.